Thank you. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order.
Moved by Councillor McGuire, seconded by Councillor Hooper, be resolved that the regular meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Assiginack be open for business at 7 p.m. with a quorum of members present, with Mayor Breach presiding in the chair.
All those in favor? Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Moved by Councillor McGuire, seconded by Councillor Hooper, We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional lands of the Three Fires Confederacy, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi peoples of the Mindy-Mincing. We recognize and deeply appreciate the stewardship and historic connection to this place, and recognize that we must do more to learn about its rich history, so that we will better understand our role as residents, neighbors, partners, and caretakers.
Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Bowerman, be it resolved that we approve the agenda as presented.
All those in favor? And I'll remind everyone, if you have pecuniary interest, you may declare it now or at the time it arises. Announcements? Yeah. Okay, we'll go into our public meeting.
Moved by Councillor Bowerman, seconded by Councillor Elliott, be resolved that we adjourn from our regular meeting and open a meeting held under the authority of Section 34 of the Planning Act in order to hear comments on proposed zoning bylaw amendments, with Mayor Reed presiding in the chair.
All those in favor? Public meeting to order. The items on the items on council's agenda tonight is the holding of a public meeting with respect to the introduction of two bylaws to amend the zoning bylaw 2024-10 and an official plan amendment. What method was used to give notice of the public meeting?
The circulation of notice was by first class mail as per Section 34 of the Planning Act and Ontario Regulation 545/06.
On what date was the notice given?
The notice for file number 2024 10 OPA 25001 and 2024 10 ZBL 25001 was published on March 14th, and file 2024 ZBL 25002 was published on March 19th.
So my calculation is that the notice was given 20 days in advance of the meeting, and this satisfies the notice bylaw requirement of 14 days advance notice. What is the purpose and reason for the bylaw?
Applications were received to amend the official plan for the district of Manitoulin to redesignate from aggregate resource area to a rural area. And secondly, to amend the zoning bylaw 2024-10 to rezone from pit and quarry zone to a rural zone for lands located at 191 Monk Houses Road. A second zoning bylaw 2024-10 amendment application, was received to prohibit any of the existing buildings on the proposed severed land and a proposed retained land that do not meet the minimum distance separation formula to be used for the housing of livestock within the lands described as being lot 10, concession 3, located at 354 Irish Lane.
Are there any persons present who wish to make oral or written submissions on the proposed bylaws? If so, would they please give their names, addresses, and postal codes to the clerk?
We do have one. Okay. Submission. There was a letter received on April 14th from Ted Zimadeni, president of Bath Creek Ventures Limited. And I'll just read it out. I acknowledge receipt of a letter dated March 19th from Teresa Carlisle of the Manitoulin Planning Board, in which Bath Creek Ventures Limited is given notice of the caption application due to Bath Creek's ownership of lands that are in the proximity of the lands that are subject to the application. I am the president of Bath Creek and am also the joint owner of the property located at 467 Irish Lane, which is about 200 meters to the southwest of the subject lands. Bass Creek and I have no concerns with the severance that has given rise to the application. Indeed, BCVL and I are both in support of the severance because it is likely to result in the residents located at 354 Irish Lane being occupied, which is in the best interest of all local landowners.
Okay. And that was the only one?
I think that's the only one.
Okay. The public meeting is now concluded, and thank you for attending. Are we ready?
You asked if there's anyone who wanted to speak in opposition. I know it's kind of a moot point, but well,
I did. So,
It was part of that, but there was no opposition that was brought forward.
you want me to ask it anyway?
I-
Okay, so we
I
will,
don't want to go in front of you and be your.
no,
Right.
no. Okay, so we will first hear from those in support of the bylaws, and then we will hear from those opposed to the bylaws, and would ask that all persons wishing to address the bylaw, please direct their questions through the chair. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in opposition? No? So the public meeting is now concluded. Thank you for attending.
Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Bowerman, be it resolved that we conclude our public meeting and resume our regular council meeting.
All those in favor? So we'll go on to adoption of minutes.
Moved by Councillor Bowerman, seconded by Councillor Elliott, be resolved that we adopt the minutes of the meeting of regular council meeting of March 25th, 2025, and the committee of the whole April 1st, 2025.
Is there any discussion? Yes?
I have one in there. It says that we'll have the listing quotes for the surplus land at the next meeting, and it's not on the agenda.
No, we haven't been able to finalize it yet.
Okay,
Gonna try and get all the answers for you for our next budget meeting.
okay.
So anything else? All those in favor then? Delegations, we do have a report from our treasurer.
There is a motion moved by Councillor McGuire, seconded by Councillor Hoover. Be it resolved that we accept the treasurer's report regarding 2025 budget as presented.
Discussion, questions on that? Yeah.
I just wanted to make a comment. I appreciate Deb's work on this. I just want to say the extra proposed cell phone allowance for all employees, as we had discussed. That wasn't what I was saying. I was saying no to any of it, but I just wanted to make sure that that point was clear to everybody here. That's what I had said. So
It's not passed.
it's not
yet,
passed
so-
yet, but I just want to
Yeah.
make sure everybody's aware.
Okay. Any other discussion on it? All those in favor of that then? Jen, yeah? Okay, that's carried. Amounts for payroll?
Moved by Councillor Hoover, seconded by Councillor McGuire, be resolved that council authorizes the following accounts for payment: payroll of $55,872.26 pursuant to the attached treasurer's statement of accounts.
Questions?
I have one. I see Andrew Garhard on here. Is he working at the library now? It's a new name, and last time I pointed out a couple names I didn't know about, so now I'm inquiring about this one too.
To find out. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Moved by Councillor Hoover, seconded by Councillor McGuire, be it resolved that council authorizes the following accounts for payment: general, 381,769.46 pursuant to the attached treasurer's statement of accounts.
Questions?
I have one.
Yep.
Under, invoice 35041. Or check number 35041, invoice 852556 for Allen's Automotive. What's a site inspection?
We applied for funding under the emergency management grant for the generators, for the arena and the library building. And as part of, Alan's doing the quote, they charge a fee. That fee is going to be taken off of the actual final cost for the installation of the generator sets. But they were very upfront in saying they do an awful lot of quotes for comparative purposes. It costs them money. And so if they don't get it, they charge a fee. Deb just processed this.
Yeah, I was
For that
like,
reason,
what
yeah.
is that? Okay,
Yeah,
That's a one-time fee.
it's a one time.
and it comes off if we hire him to
Yes,
do that.
if we're successful with the program and they get the go ahead, it's basically a prepayment.
Okay,
Anything else? No? All those in favor then? That's carried. Now we have a recommendation for our website.
Moved by Councilor Hooper, seconded by Councilor McGuire. Be it resolved, the council awards the website OP to Up and Up for a total of 20,000 plus HSD. Further staff explore town app further and report back to council.
Okay, questions on that? That came in within what we had budgeted for it.
What's our timeline for
I'm sorry.
implementation timeline?
They actually had a shorter implementation than some of the other ones. We had said to September would be light. December was the deadline. And then they actually had it before September.
Thank you.
Is there an annual fee associated with that?
There is.
What is it?
Yeah, they had their fees split out between the actual setup and then an annual. And the recurring annual is 3,000.
how do those two
That's
fees,
with the taxes.
how do those two fees, the 20,000 and the 3,000 annual compare to any other response we got?
A lot of them were within the same ballpark. Some of them were a lot higher than the budget as well.
Okay,
This one wasn't, the fee was just one of the criteria in there. Mostly it was the transition of information, how the back end is set up, and also the front end user for viewers. It was clean, it was easy to navigate. It had features in there for finding information to make it a lot easier as well. But the back end of it, they create their own system. They're not using something more generic like WordPress, where it requires to have a bunch of plugins to update it all the time. They manage it themselves as their own software. And it's specifically designed for municipalities and for public sector, that software that they have. So there was several criteria that were used for evaluating them. But that was a key component of it right there. As well as the AODA, as in 2021, websites had to be for public sector compliant. So that's something that they had the best proposal of compliance and how they address that as well, including anything that we put out in the future. They're able to do that within their programming.
I Google searched the company name just to see, and they have several clients, and I went to a couple of their websites, like just mobile, and they're very, very clean, very easy to navigate.
Mhm.
So I like that a lot.
Okay, any more questions on that? All those in favor then? That's good.
Moved by Counselor Elliott, second by Counselor Bowerman, be resolved that we acknowledge receipt of the request submitted by Ben Quackenbush, to extend the township's insurance coverage to include the volunteer mountain bikers events run through the 2025 season.
So if you remember last year, we partnered with them so that they were covered by our insurance, and I think it worked out quite well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, any other discussion on that? All those in favor then? Please just be the part for that.
Well, they do a lot of maintenance on the trails for us.
They do.
It's a way to benefit both of us.
And it does draw people here,
Absolutely.
so.
Okay, and then we have the Horticultural Society.
Moved by Counselor Bowerman, seconded by Counselor Elliott, be it resolved that we acknowledge receipt of the Assiginack Horticultural Society's request, and its request will be reviewed during the 2025 budget deliberations.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Thank you, friend. I would support. I
Absolutely.
think that's a worthy one to support, but it'll go to budget. Okay, and the city of Thunder Bay.
Moved by Counselor McGuire, seconded by Counselor Hooper, be it resolved that we support the city of Thunder Bay regarding the request for redistribution of provincial land transfer tax and goods and services tax to municipalities for sustainable infrastructure funding from the province of Ontario.
The first one of these we've supported, right? I think there was another.
We did
town
one
we
like that,
said.
yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Bylaws. We have a few tonight.
Moved by Counselor McGuire, seconded by Counselor Hooper, that the bylaw 2025-08 being a bylaw to authorize the hiring of a recreational director be given a first, second, and third final reading and enacted in open council.
Okay, discussion. I'd like to welcome Kelly to our team and I'm looking forward to working with her.
Absolutely.
All those in favor then?
Moved by Counselor McGuire, seconded by Counselor Hooper, that bylaw number 2025-09 being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 2024-10 be given the first, second, and third reading, final reading, and enacted in open council.
Okay, and this is what we just had the public meeting about. Any more discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Moved by Counselor McGuire, seconded by Counselor Hooper, that bylaw number 2025-10 being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 2024-10 be given a first, second, and third final reading and enacted in open council.
Okay. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. We do have a closed session tonight, but that brings us to the close of the open session.
Moved by Counselor Hooper, seconded by Counselor McGuire, be it resolved that in accordance with section 239 of the Municipal Act as amended, the council proceeds to a closed session at 7:17 in order to attend to matters pertaining to advice from solicitor to client privilege.
Is in favor?